Hey, what's up, everybody? This is B&J Productions. I'm Jacob Beatles, and this is Brandon Avery. And today we're doing our continuing of a series of we're covering every team in the NBA. And starting off for this Wednesday morning, we're starting with the Dallas Mavericks, Phoenix Suns, and the Memphis Grizzlies. Three teams in the NBA West that are going to be a little slow and kind of sleeper teams of what people might think can try and get the 8th seed. Starting off, we've got the Dallas Mavericks, and they've got a projected starting five of point guard Dennis Smith Jr., the second-year man, and kind of had a little rough year at the beginning for the Mavericks, but ended up at the end of the year having incredible speed and had really good games and had incredible time. And then shooting guard, the new draft from the Euro League, 19-year-old Luka Doncic, who's one of my new favorite players in the NBA now, especially since he's on my Mavericks. Small forward Wesley Matthews has been a veteran and has played incredible, one of the best three-point shooters on the Mavs. And power forward Harrison Barnes, the guy who left the Warriors and the Warriors replaced him with Kevin Durant, and been a decent kind of player overall, not the best, not the worst. And then at center, the new signing of DeAndre Jordan from the Los Angeles Clippers has had pretty good rebounding games and one of the best defensive players in the league. Kind of gone down this past year, but he's an incredible center and who the Mavericks are looking for. A couple bench players to watch this year. Got Devin Harris back. He played at Denver, or got traded from the Mavericks to Denver last year. Point guard who's been incredibly good for the Mavericks over the past couple years. Of course, the greatest player on the Mavericks of all time, power forward Dirk Nowitzki, probably in my opinion the best power forward of all time. He's one of my favorite players, and he's getting older. Turns 41 this year, probably his last year with the Mavericks and with any team. Point guard Jalen Brunson, drafted from Villanova, a really good player, won Naismith Player of the Year a couple years ago. Maybe last year, not very sure, but it has incredible speed, incredible talent, great leadership. I'm very happy he slid to the Mavs in the second round, a great player. And then a power forward and Dwight Powell, a young guy who's always contributed on the bench and has had pretty good years in the past. But what do you think of this Mavericks team, Brandon?
I really like the Mavericks this year. I like the addition of DeAndre Jordan. I think that they're going to do good this year, but I think that they're 1 or 2 years away from that 8th seed right now. I think that they need a little bit more in the next 1 or 2 years. Not even just getting new players in, young players growing a little bit more, and I think that they're a scary team 1 or 2 years from now.
Yeah, they signed a player option with DeAndre Jordan, or a 1-year deal to see if he fits, and if he doesn't, he can go. And I think this is a proving year for DeAndre, and I think he's going to be good. I really hope, I'm not sure if they can vie for this 8th seed. Like you said, it might take a couple more years. DeAndre Jordan and Luka Doncic and Dennis Smith to fit together. I wish, for the sake of Dirk Nowitzki, they could be the number 1 seed and win it for him in his last year. Kind of a sign-off, kind of the way Tim Duncan had it. But I really wish the Mavericks could be the best team in the NBA, but let's be honest here, they're not. I mean, they have a lot of young talent, but there's a drop-off after the Devin Harris and Dwight Powell and the bench talent. I mean, Jalen Brunson has a lot to prove. They had the 60th pick, last guy, Isaiah Thomas pick, and Kostas Antetokounmpo, his brother, is going to be playing in the G League, getting some talent. He's a raw, extremely talented guy, but he needs years to develop like Giannis did. I mean, 2K had him when he was drafted at a 40, and I mean, it's going to be incredible to see how well he develops and see if he's anywhere close to what Giannis can be and will be. But I think this Mavericks team is going to be a pretty good 10th seed, and the only way they get their pick they traded to get Luka is if they're in the top 3. And I don't think that's going to be an option. So Atlanta's going to get their pick this year, but I mean, they have a lot of talent and a lot of young guys. Up next, we've got the Phoenix Suns, Brandon's pick for the 8th seed in the West. Got a lot of young talent here too. Little better bench, but I mean, they're the Phoenix Suns, and they haven't been good since Steve Nash left. And there's Devin Booker at the point guard position. I mean, they don't have very many good point guards. They traded Brandon Knight and Eric Bledsoe a couple years back. Shooting guard, probably T.J. Warren is what I'm thinking. A young guy who's always been a good contributor. Small forward, signed away from the Houston Rockets, not Rothics, whatever that is. Rockets, Trevor Ariza, incredible player. Small forward, he's a great defensive guy. It's going to be a loss that the Rockets don't have him this year. A power forward, a second-year man, Josh Jackson. He's he's had some. He had a pretty good year at the end of the year last year, but I mean he's still a young guy. And then center number 1 pick DeAndre Ayton out of Arizona, and he's going to be incredible. I think one of the best center prospects, but he has a opportunity to be a bust with the Suns. And I mean they have some tough times ahead and a lot of rough work, and got quite a few good bench players. Mikal Bridges drafted from Villanova, traded for help me out here.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, traded from Philadelphia for still lost it. Zaire Smith. There we go. Zaire Smith, and kind of disappointing for him. His mom is on staff at Philadelphia, and he was so excited they got drafted and got traded away. Kind of a sad thing, but almost funny. Got DeAnthony Melton, a young guy from Oregon, who got traded with the Rockets with Brian Anderson, who I'll talk about in a second. Young guy, a little bit of a sleeper pick for a pretty good year. He could take over for Devin Booker at point guard, and Devin Booker moves back to shooting guard. And there's Eli Okabo, one of the best second round picks out there, drafted I think 31st overall. An incredible guy, young player. Rashawn Holmes signed from the 76ers this year, and he's a pretty solid player. Dragon Bender's got a lot of work to do at that center position, and he's I don't think he's as good as what he could be right now, but he has a lot of things to develop. And then, of course, Ryan Anderson, a big guy traded from the Rockets for Brandon Knight and Marquise Chris, and he's okay. Has a pretty good three-point shot for a big guy, but I mean, the Suns have a lot to prove this year, and they could be good. Brandon, what do you think?
I really like the Suns this year. They're going to be a lot better than last year. I like the pickup of DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker could be a great 1-2 punch, first and second.
Yeah, I think so.
This
Yeah.
year. And they're going to get better as time goes on. And I like bringing in a veteran guy like Trevor Ariza, who can be a really good third option and come in and be a good scorer for the Phoenix Suns starting out. A lot of the lulls that they got in last year from having the ups and downs.
It's definitely a lot more talent than they had last year.
I like their bench. I think that they're not a great bench, but a lot better. I think that they're making the positive steps to get back to where they were when they had Steve.
Yeah, I think so too, definitely. Yeah, I think they have a chance, along with the Mavericks and the team we'll talk about in a second, to get that 8 seed. Up next, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, last year, extremely disappointing. Had the number 3 pick in the draft. Drafted Jaren Jackson from Michigan State, a big guy who I think is going to be incredible. Starting 5, we got to remember how great Mike Conley is when he's healthy. Point guard Mike Conley, I mean, he's incredible. Easily a top 10 point guard in the NBA when he's healthy. Shooting guard Dylan Brooks, a guy who had a pretty good, solid rookie season last year. Similar to what Michael Brogdon had for the Bucks. But, I mean, there were way better rookies in Jason Tatum, Kyle Kuzma, Lonzo Ball, Donovan Mitchell, and second-time rookie Ben Simmons. I mean, Dylan Brooks had an incredible year. I'm very high on this guy, and I think he can help the Grizzlies in their kind of drop-off in talent. And a small forward, Kyle Anderson, signed from the Spurs. He's always been a solid Spurs option, and he's just going to fill in that role for small forward. It's going to rotate between him and Chandler Parsons. Chandler Parsons used to be, when he was on the Rockets and the Mavericks, he was incredible. People wanted him. It was a big fight out of that one division of who rotated to have Chandler Parsons, but he was incredible. He's dropped off in talent, kind of not very good anymore since he left the Mavericks. At power forward, JaMychal Green kind of stepped up for the best player after Marc Gasol and Mike Conley were hurt last year. Not a lot done by him, but I mean, the Grizzlies got to take what they get with him, and he's going to be a solid option. Center Marc Gasol used to be the best center in the game People will still argue that he is, but I mean, he had injury last year, got in a big fight with Coach David Fisdale, wanted him gone or wanted to be traded, and people thought he was going to be traded, but he's not. He's still with Memphis here, and going to be a free agent next summer, but he's got a lot to prove. Him and Paul Gasol used to be the best brother duo in the NBA. They both played on the Grizzlies for a little bit together, but Paul got traded to the Lakers, and he's got a lot to prove. And they've got some young guys like I talked about, Jaren Jackson of Michigan State, and what do you think of him, Brandon?
I think he's going to be good. I don't think he's going to come out and start playing good ball immediately, but eventually he can be a great second or third.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they should have drafted Luka there when they had the chance, but they didn't. And kind of disappointing in what happened, but our Trae Young was still available. I don't think he's a good fit for the Grizzlies, but I think Wendell Carter Jr. could have been a better option, or a lot of players like that. Then Shelvin Mack, a young point guard, I think signed from the Atlanta Hawks this year. He's always been a solid kind of backup point guard, not the best, not the worst, and just a solid option to back up Mike Conley. And they got Wayne Selden Jr., a young shooting guard who can develop his talent later on in the season. I think if he can step up his game, kind of take that shooting guard spot from Dillon Brooks, and Dillon Brooks moves down to small forward, it can be a whole lot better team. What do you think of this Grizzlies team?
I think this Grizzlies team has a lot of questions.
Yeah, I think so too.
The high and low, the ceiling and floor for this is a great distance.
Yeah, like I voted mine to be like them to be the 8th seed, because I think if Mike Conley and Marc Gasol get back to the way they fit together, I mean, it's going to be incredible.
On how good these young guys play with the veterans. Mike Conley is always pretty good. The question is he going to elevate his game, becoming a knockdown, definitive all-star?
Yeah, I think so too.
Definitive guy who can take over a team. I think that they have a good system. They have Conley, Gasol, first and second option, and then Jaren can step up maybe, be a great third option.
Yeah, I think so. They have a lot to prove. There's a lot of question marks with these three teams, and who do you think, Brennan, is going to be the best option to take that 8th seed out of these three teams?
Like I said, I think it's going to be Phoenix. I like their young talent. They brought in a veteran to lead them. I really like Devin
Booker.
I wanted to say Brooks. I really like Devin Booker. He is a great player. Next, Kobe Bryant. I like DeAndre Ayton. Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton will be a good matchup together.
Yeah, and especially if Eli Okubo and DeAnthony Melton can pick up that sleeper status and do good. I think this team is definitely way talented. And I think, my opinion, I think the Dallas Mavericks I put the Grizzlies as the 8th seed, but I think it's going to be a toss-up. And I think the Mavericks here, Dennis Smith is going to step up his game even more. He's incredible. He can dunk the ball, and he has enormous vertical, and he's just a great player. And Luka Doncic, I saw a thing from ESPN that Luka Doncic played pickup ball with a lot of good NBA players. People said he was the best player on the court, and it's not just with the Mavericks team. Big players
Very smart player.
Yeah, definitely. LaMarcus Aldridge played a little bit with him, and they were like, this he's incredible. He's the smartest guy.
This is a rookie that comes in and plays like a veteran.
Definitely.
Basically, he's a veteran. He's been in the EuroLeague since 15. How this all goes down. He hasn't been playing exactly at NBA speed, but he's been playing up there.
Pretty much better than college.
Probably the most experience a rookie can have.
Yeah, and he's tore up the EuroLeague. He hadn't just been a player there.
He's been playing with basically in between college and pro. He's been playing with kids like that since 15 years old. It's a lot better than having a high school going to college.
And he's won the MVP in the EuroLeague. He hasn't been just a good player there.
He's not just coming off the bench role player there.
Yeah, he's won the Euro MVP, and that's not easy to do. It's really not.
A lot of people don't give the EuroLeague credit for what it is. There's a lot of really good players in the EuroLeague.
Yeah, most definitely. People were disappointed with Milos Teodosic last year, but he's 31 years old, and that's pretty old for a rookie. And Luka Doncic, he's 19 years old, and he finally got a chance, and he's going to prove some things with this Mavericks team. I think he's a high-level all-star. He's going to win Rookie of the Year, no doubt in my mind. Even with DeAndre Ayton, I think Nobody has a better opportunity than learning under Dirk and Wesley Matthews and Mark Cuban and Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle is one of the best coaches in the NBA, and I think he has a great opportunity to win and to do good.
Even he already is a great IQ basketball player, really good. He's also coming into a situation he can learn even more from some veterans.
I mean, he's a little rusty and a little kind of raw talent, but still, that raw talent is a lot better than the raw talent of, say, Jaren Jackson and Kostas Antetokounmpo on his team. I mean, I think the Mavs are going to be in a couple, 2 to 3 years, they're going to be up there, number
Deadly
1 seed.
Team.
Yeah. Yeah, and all right, that's all we have today for this NBA talk. We've got another 3 teams coming up for you next week, and I mean, Thursday we'll figure out what we're going to talk about. We're recording this Wednesday episode on Tuesday, but we will get to you Tuesday, and we'll see you there. And then Friday we got our weekly picks, and we will see you Wednesday. And thank you for watching, and appreciate everything y'all do for us. And this has been B&J Productions. I'm Jacob, and this is Brandon, and we will see you next week.